Welcome to the Spiritually Empowered Podcast, your virtual sanctuary for soul growth, spiritual healing, divine purpose, and conscious manifestation. Together we'll explore mysticism and magic, Buddhist and yogic teachings for inner liberation, shamanic energy medicine, psychic development, and tools to wield your power and protect your energy during this time of global awakening. I'm Ashley Coleman, ordained shamanic minister, advanced energy medicine practitioner, spiritual teacher, and devoted student of life's deepest mysteries. I'm here to help you alchemize ancient soul wounds, reclaim your power, and rise into your sacred calling to bring healing to this world in a way that only you can. I'm so honored to be here with you. Let's dive in. Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to the Spiritually Empowered Podcast. I am your host, Ashley Coleman. It's so good to be with you today. If you've been with me for a while, you know that I started this podcast sitting up against my bed in my bedroom, just late at night, wanting to share teachings that have changed my life. And this is an interfaith community. That's winged alchemy. I pull from Hinduism, Buddhism, shamanism, Eastern philosophy as a whole, as well as the more modern sciences like quantum physics and neuroscience to really bring together seekers who are here to live a big life, who are here to be the lineage healers, to heal things that your parents didn't have the resources or the willingness to heal, to turn your wounds into wisdom and to answer the brave calling over your life, and to deepen your union, your acknowledgement, your recognition of the union between you and the God of your own understanding. For me, that is the source of it all. And anytime I feel just like I'm drowning in suffering or confusion, I open my mouth and I say, God, send me your most powerful angels. I invoke heavenly healing over my body now. I believe that Yeshua, Jesus Christ, didn't want us to bow at his feet and worship him as our Savior. I believe he wanted us to rise up and walk like him. We can perform miracles not by our own energy, but through God, however you understand that to be. So this is a mystic's room. This room is for people who want a direct connection and experience of God, of truth, of wisdom. We aren't just reading books. We are standing on the mountaintop, so to speak, and like I said, invoking heavenly energies. I just want to highlight the power of your voice right now. Whatever comes out of your mouth, is it increasing suffering or dukkha in Buddhism? Or is it increasing love? Because what comes out of your mouth, you are constructing into life. You are casting spells every time you speak. And this power must be wielded if we want to own our truth and live our power and our mission. So how about we share a deep breath together? Breathing all the way into your lungs, filling and get empty. Breath is spirit. When we are short of breath, we're short of inspiration, we're short of peace. When you increase your breath, when you commit to the exhale, you're changing your state rapidly. This is the yogi wisdom. If your breath is disturbed, you're going to be disturbed in your mind. And so, invitation to remember to breathe with the fullness of your lungs, because why would we ever rush? You ever just feel like you're rushing and you haven't taken a breath and you're doing all the things where we're not actually present in the moment? We're missing our life. We're not here. When we have steadiness of breath, we step into the hummingbird medicine and shamanism, which is stillness in flight. We can become still while we're in motion. There's this feeling of connection and presence as we breathe while we are doing things. The hummingbird is stillness in flight. Just imagine the hummingbird. And have you had any experiences with this beautiful creature? I did when I was in San Jose, California, visiting my sister, and I was praying. I was still in the heat of my addiction to pot that went on for 7 years. I was a very heavy user of that, self-medicating, etc. And so I just remember, though, feeling really in touch with God, with soul, with the land. And I was sitting tucked back into my sister's porch in California. She used to live in San Jose, and this hummingbird flew towards me, paused in front of me. Its little wings are going, 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 but there it was, still in front of me. And then it flew away. And I was like, wow, nature responds to presence. Nature responds to presence. So today I would love to bring the mystical down into the practical and share a really simple and quick teaching and story around what to do when we get triggered. So let's go into it. I want this to serve you, and a lot of you will put this to practice and not just hear this message. And that's really important. If you want results, you do the thing, right? And so invitation to do this practice and see how it works for you. Make it your own. So I want to tell you a story when I was at breakfast with one of my previous partners, and I was sober at the time and he was not sober. And we were having breakfast and he ordered a mimosa. And when I tell you, I felt this flooding of emotion through my body. Emotions, when we experience a trigger, they hijack our nervous system and we become entranced. We step into an altered state. When you're triggered, when you have an emotion flooding your nervous system and your body, you go backwards to when you were 10 years old, right? You time travel. It hijacks your nervous system. One of the core wounds, think about it like this, one of the core wounds, which we only have a couple, says shamanism from my training, one of our core wounds just got double clicked. So think about like a desktop screen and you have a core wound of not feeling safe or betrayal, right? And they live dormant until they're activated. And when it gets activated through a trigger, something happens to wake up the program, it gets double clicked and it takes over the screen. And I was taken over. And what I know is I have two options in that moment. Option one is to project that emotional energy onto my partner at the time and not actually digest or regulate first. Caveat, if you are in an unsafe environment, sometimes you need to immediately respond or react, right? So this example is for there's no immediate danger. You just got triggered. And so I had two options. Number one, say something right away and react. So people do this when they have a trigger and then they throw it up on somebody so as to give them the poison because it's too fucking uncomfortable to sit with. It does feel like death often. You have emotional energy surging through your body. And here's a method to deal with that. It's easier for some people to project onto others, to start yelling, to throw the phone across the room, to react. And that causes problems, obviously, in your relationships. It's very toxic, and it is the lazy way to respond. Let me just throw up this pain because I don't know how to sit with it for a minute. And that doesn't mean go off in a corner and deal with it yourself and never set a boundary or never come back to the person that hurt you. It's just that you want to step down from that altered state, because when you're triggered, you are possessed by your emotional body, so to speak. And I know you know what I'm talking about with this, right? It just overcomes you. So here's what I did. I went to the bathroom and I started talking to myself, because what I know is that a part of me just got triggered. Not the inner witness, not the higher self, not the 15 other parts of me. One part of me got triggered. So I go to the bathroom and I start speaking to the part. This is parts work. I start speaking to the part. It's okay. You have every right to feel this way. I say that out loud to the part. You have every right to feel this way. I start breathing. It's very uncomfortable because I'm not reacting. I'm sitting in the shit and I'm just breathing with myself. Nothing else matters but me and my inner child in that moment. Nothing else matters. So I'm breathing and I'm saying, you have every right to feel this way. I don't try to fix myself. I don't try to get happy. I've said something like, if you need to set a boundary, if you don't want a partner who drinks, I completely get it. And I'm going to honor you, number one. For right now, let's just do our best to get through this brunch. And then I'm going to sit with you in the fullness of your experience. And I'm going to see if there's a boundary that needs to be set, or maybe it's just something to walk through together. So I am speaking, you're talking to the child. You're talking to the part. Like you're over here and they're over there. You want to unblend. This is a hypnotherapy technique. You want to unblend by being the observer and lovingly accepting and holding the part of you that's flipping out. That's flipping out, right? Anger and frustration, say your trigger made you feel that way. That anger and frustration, those are emotions that are probably always, I'm going to say, covering sadness, grief, loneliness, not feeling safe. Anger and frustration are on top of something. They're covering usually sadness, grief, or fear. I forget what it's called in parts work. They're the front emotions covering the deeper ones. So I had my moment. I put my hand on my heart. I'm breathing. I'm saying, you have every right to feel this way. That is a key that will unlock your healing and change your whole life and your bloodline. Because what fucks us up is when we try to fix ourselves, right? The worst thing you can do when a baby is crying is say, stop crying. What's that going to do? It's going to make them not trust themselves. It's going to make them suppress their emotions. And it's going to make them lose control of their emotions because now it's in the shadow, right? In the repressed part of the psyche. So what you do want to do is welcome, accept, and speak life into that part. You are not in danger, my love. You are completely safe. You have every right to feel this way. I'm going to make it my priority to sit with you when I get home or whenever that time is, and I'm never leaving your side. I am never, ever leaving your side. I am right here. This has been the core practice that has saved my life because I used to run I used to run, run, run. You're too sensitive. Stop crying. I had my shadow was filled with emotions that I had repressed due to conditioning. And this is a practice of the alchemical marriage, which is wholeness. A person of power is a person who has united their psyche, shadow and light, unconscious and conscious. The shadow is the unconscious and the light is the conscious, right? They're both needed. They're both amazing. They're both necessary. It's just your shadow is so loving that it will hold everything you repress. It will just hold it there. And when you wake up, when you have a trigger, you are blessed with the opportunity to become whole again. When you have a trigger, you are blessed with an opportunity to integrate that part that was thrown out of the garden, that was split from your psyche. So you have an opportunity every trigger to become whole, to get closer to yourself, not push it away. So I came back. I left the bathroom when I felt safe in myself. I still felt horrible, because that's a big emotion, right? I go sit down, I go through the brunch, do my best. I'm not faking anything, right? But I'm not saying anything yet. I'm not ready. It's not cooked. And then I go home later and I sit with myself and I cried. It hurt so bad. It hurt. It hurt. It hurt. I cried and I held myself in that. Because I know that if I don't follow the emotion all the way through the wave, it'll get stuck in my body. So I know I'm committed. I sit in it. I sit in it. I sit in it. I sit in it. And then you alchemize it. And I asked myself, when the wave started to pass, when you're in the altered state of a trigger, you do not perceive properly, meaning your faculties of reasoning are blurred. When you are in a trigger, you lose clarity. This is why people get violent and then regret it, because they are in an altered state and they are throwing up their emotions on others. They're reacting, and because they haven't learned or have been willing to sit in the discomfort, to actually go down and into the emotion versus up and away, using a substance, yelling at somebody, right? These are all ways of escaping. And the only way out is through. So may as well just go for it. Just sink all the way in and you will pop out on the other side with wisdom. You go all the way down and in. It's like there's a gateway at the bottom of your emotion. And this is something I practice, is descending, imagining I'm sinking into it. I'm breathing. It's the resistance to feel that creates more suffering than the emotion itself. It's the resistance to feel that creates more suffering than the emotion itself. So I sat in it, I rode the wave, and once the wave started to pass, I said, okay, what can I do to create change for you? Because obviously that didn't feel right. Is there a boundary? And sometimes there's not a boundary. Sometimes it's just the experience that needs to come through. But I said, is there a boundary? And there ended up needing to be a boundary. I no longer wanted a partner who used substances. And my solution at that time was to say to my partner, hey, this was my experience. When you did this, I felt this. I didn't blame or shame. This is owning your shit and owning your boundaries. When you did this, I felt this, and I need to request a boundary. And for me at that time, it was, I really need you to ask if it's okay for you to have a drink. And that it sounds a little odd looking back, but that's what I knew that I needed. It triggered me too much to have him just start drinking without including me in that decision. That worked. He was okay with that. Obviously wasn't the right partner long term, but that served me really well. It really did. It gave me a sense of empowerment. And if he would have said, I can't do that, then I would have said, I'm leaving. So your boundary is your boundary. And if you don't listen to your boundaries, then you freaking wither your self-trust. You die to yourself. Right. And so for me, many years ago, when I came out of a toxic relationship, I said, Ash, I'm never, ever, 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 ever abandoning you again. You are number one. And ever since that commitment, I never looked back. Not saying I'm perfect, but I absolutely held and still do hold that commitment. If you lose trust with yourself, which means you don't follow through with your evolving truth and what's real for you right now, what's real for you yesterday might not be what's real for you now. We have truths that are longer term, and then we have our evolving truth. And if you don't honor your truth, you're self-abandoning. And it withers you. It withers you. It withers you over time. You can build it back, but this is the foundation of relationships. And if you wither that trust with yourself, it's going to be withered in all your other relationships, because the relationship to yourself is a mirror. It's a mirror to every other relationship. It's the foundation. It's the set point. It's the standard you set. My partner today is my absolute dream partner. And we just moved in together and are in this absolutely stunning house. And I'll share more on that soon, especially if you're interested. Let me know what you would love to hear from the show. But this has worked for me in a really big way. My relationships are so reciprocal and deep and loyal. And I had to walk through some shit to get here, right? Some betrayals, all kinds of things. And your relationship to your soul sets the bar. So to summarize, a trigger is when a part of you from the past or a core wound from your past gets double clicked and it takes over your nervous system for a certain amount of time. You go into an altered state where your reasoning faculties and your ability to perceive reality in the way that it is gets blurry. And you have two options. Option one, project it on somebody. Option two, sit in your shit and meet your inner child and take the opportunity, the blessing to become whole again, to deepen your wholeness. And you can say to yourself, I highly, highly encourage you to try this, to see what happens. You can say to yourself, I'm never leaving your side. You are the most important thing to me. You have every right to feel this way. Whatever comes up in you, you accept. Whatever comes up in you, you accept. It doesn't mean you let it take you over. It doesn't mean you react from that place, but it means you are loving what arises, because that is alchemy. Love is the strongest alchemy, and love doesn't separate. Love unites. And you're doing both. You're both unblending, which is wisdom. The two wings of Buddhism are compassion and wisdom. You're unblending, you're separating. And then you're coming back together with it. You're uniting, it being the part of you that got triggered. And asking yourself, what's out of balance? Am I doing something that is self-abandoning? Talk to me. You're talking to the part after you ride the wave, right? What can I do for you? What can I do for you? What change needs to be made? Who crossed the line? What happened? And then you respond to that need, to that boundary. And this is such a potent, simple, maybe not easy practice. The hardest part, I would say, is deciding to not escape your emotions, is to sit in the emotions, to breathe and just listen to them. Feel it. What's it like in your heart? Do you feel it in your veins? What's your heart doing? What's your stomach doing? It's to be embodied in your body. It's not to say I'm going to make a gratitude list, or I'm going to float out of my body, or I'm going to separate. It's to go in. to go in and to watch and to just be that loving parent. Really, this is what it is, right? What did we want from mom and dad? We didn't want them to say, get happy quick, make a gratitude list, right? Not knocking gratitude lists. There's a time and place. But when you're triggered, it's not the right time. It can actually make it worse. What did we want from mom and dad? Well, we probably wanted them to say, I'm never leaving your side. Get it all out. Yep. Cry away. Go ahead. We don't want them to stop our natural feelings. Get happy, go and shut the door and walk away. What did we want from our parents? This is what we give to ourselves. Thank you so much for being with me today. I hope this served you. Please share this episode if it spoke to you, and share the love. Drop a comment if you do this practice. Many of you will do this practice, and I can't wait to hear how it serves you if you're open to share. And I will see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you loved this episode, share it with somebody who you really feel would benefit from this message. I'm sending you lots of love, and I'll see you in the next episode.